What it do, everybody? It's Baby Roo. Hold on, let me block the light. Before we get into this video, I just wanted to say I know I've been kind of lacking on the uploading schedule. I started working on a different project. Started making the merch, which, if this video is out, that means the website is live now, so y'all could go ahead and get some merch. Right now we just got the one hoodie. I got a few other designs that I'm cooking up right now. They should hopefully be up on the website next week, but that'll be a part of next week's video. The content on the channel is kind of going to be changing. This is my last video from my time out in Colorado, and really thinking about things, and like now that I have like the clothing brand started, the car is kind of going to be on hold for a little bit, just because there's some other things, some other investments I need to put into place to help fund the car, to do everything I want to do with it. The car is not stopping. I still have the Lincoln. It's still going to get built. But there's a few other moves I need to make before I start really dumping money into it. So I'm still going to be producing content. If anything, I'm going to try to produce it more frequently. But we're going to have a little bit different style of video. We'll have to wait and see how it turns out. So without further ado, I appreciate Keith. I appreciate C's, my father, for setting up this little interview. And I hope y'all enjoy the interview. Thank you.
The best tacos in town?
Best tacos. We ran from the cops. I was sweaty. My thighs smell like burnt fajitas.
Gotta make sure all the mantecas off in there too.
Smell like chicharrones. Shout out to Kim. She's not here right now.
Mr. Deeds.
She got her anklet on?
Like gangsta now.
Good, bro. Alright, rubber baby buggy bumpers.
What it do, everybody? It's Baby Roo, and welcome back to the Repentance YouTube channel. Today we're here with Keith, and we're gonna go ahead and interview him about his beautiful rides. First, start off by talking about this one, since this one's in the frame. What vehicle is this?
This is a 1938 Chevy Master Deluxe. It's in the works. Got a little bit more work to get to it, but next year it'll be hitting the scene pretty hard.
Okay, and then what do you plan on doing to it?
We're gonna drop her on the ground. Visor coming. Interior's almost done. Semi-mild, custom. It's gonna hurt some feelings.
Okay. You got another car out back, which we'll go ahead and put some footage of that I filmed earlier. And then what's your other?
It's a 53 Chevy Bel Air 4-door. Little hydros in the back, front, back, side to side, pinstriping, real mild custom as well. So that's the brother of this one right here.
And do you plan on doing anything different to that one?
I don't think so, man. That's the cruiser, man. I can take that one everywhere I need to go. Drives good, runs good. A little bumpy every once in a while because the hydros, but other than that, solid.
All right. And then those are considered bombs. For like the people who don't know, why do they call them bombs?
So they're from, I think it was what, 42, 43, 44? Used to his iron when the bombers were coming during the wars. And then these cars were built in that time of era, so they had the sirens, and we get to the sirens with them and call them the bombs. But then they hear us coming, and here comes the bombs. Bombs are rolling hard.
And then what ended up getting you into cars? Were you always into like the older Chevys, or?
Well, back then, when I was younger, I had a '88 Prelude on 13.7s. It was lowrider. It's what I could afford at the time. Man, I had a young family. I was family at the time. And then life happens, bro. Got away from them for a little bit. And as you get older, bro, you start saving money, bro. You start investing in bombs. These ones are my grandbabies, man. When I pass away, these ones are going to my babies. But lowrider's been a thing of our lives, our culture. It's been around forever.
And then what's your favorite part of lowrider? Because I feel like everyone has their own little thing.
Charisma with our bros. Man, you line 13 of these guys up, 14, 15, man, and we're cruising, man. It's the best, Shows are good, shows are fun, but you get us all lined up and we're hitting the sirens and we're coming. It's a culture. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's just that feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Growing up, and then also like the family bond between everyone and like the clubs and everything. And then you're in a club as well.
Yep.
What club are you a part of?
We're Pachuco.
And then what's the history of that?
Pachuco started back in the 80s. We're having our 30-year anniversary, I believe. Better check that. It might be 20. I'm not sure exactly. But Pachuco started out bonds, then we're a club from 30s, no higher than 54.
Okay.
So that's where a street bomb club. No disrespect to the other clubs with higher older cars, but it's a straight up bomb club and family oriented. Again, charisma. Bunch of good guys.
Yeah. What makes a bomb a bomb?
Yeah, so the 30s is hard to get to, and you got, of course, you're coming up on, 85 years old now, this is 38, just finding visors, skirts, accessories, what they had back then, things that were $1.50, $2 back then, running us now $200-300, OG hubcaps, white walls, chrome, just basically accessories that come with the car back then. Back then, $1 was $1, and now these days
It's crazy nowadays, yeah. And then, where do you normally find the parts? Just looking at junkyards, or
junkyards online. Maybe the homeboys have them. ROG Matt, he's one of them guys that covers accessories pretty good, and he'll hook us up. But yeah, they're hard to come by. So if you want it, you gotta pay for it.
You gotta pay the price.
Yep.
And have you always been in Colorado, or?
We started in New Mexico. I'm from New Mexico, Raton, New Mexico, 505. But got married, moved up to Colorado, up north. But roots come from New Mexico.
Okay. Is that the club roots as well, or just your roots?
No, club roots come from California.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were an older club before with another club. A couple guys broke off and what have you, but Pachuco, man, it's family oriented, man. It's more, like I said, more charisma. We like I said, don't care really about shows, dude. We do show, but when we're cruising, man, that's the best. And these old bombs when you're cruising, man, you got your family with you, and cruise with one of my friends. He's got a 51, a black one's pretty nice. I like that car. Just go down to the local Dairy Queen, man, and just have some fun, eat some ice cream and shit. Really good shit.
Do you have any particular favorite memories that stick out in your mind or anything? Is as far as your favorite moment, or is it just all the whole collective of?
Yeah, it's collective, man. When we get us together, man, that's the best, man. You get that feeling inside, man. You're with your bros, cruising with the family. I don't think you can replace it, honestly. It's a good feeling, man. You put a lot of heart and soul into these cars. We went out to a car show a couple weeks ago, about 60 miles away from home, and I want a little trophy and everything, but when I get my bomb home and I lay that bitch right down on the ground in the garage, that is my reward, because she ran good.
Yeah.
And that's what in the wintertime, that's what I do. I work on them so I don't have problems when I'm out there. And that's my reward when I get in, and that's the way I love it, bro. That she's took me from point A to point B.
She did her job.
That's right, bro. Some love for her. She gives it back to me.
And then the projects are never really finished, but how many hours do you say that you put into one of these cars on average?
Man, it's endless, man. I mean, you get home from work, tired as hell, but you come out and I gotta do this, do that. So man, it's endless hours, man. Like you said, it never stops. You can always add more to these cars, and all it is money. You got money, you can do what the fuck you want. Sometimes you're on a budget. You just gotta do pieces at a time, man.
Yeah, just take it slow.
Take it slow, exactly.
And then, generally, when you start a new car, what's your favorite thing to start on? Do you generally start on the exterior, the interior, or do you just kind of mix it up, whatever you feel like?
So being a mechanic by trade, I want to get everything running mechanically first. I want it to be solid: brakes, ignition, running. Heaters working, wipers working, all that, and then I'll start working from that. From the inside out.
And then, I think she would have signed.
We're doing an interview. Thank you. On camera right now.
It's part of the bloopers.
Have you seen my baby?
Where's my baby?
My baby, she's out running the streets.
With the dirty dapper.
And then, speaking about you being a mechanic, I feel like that's a good segue, because I feel like as far as the lowrider community, I feel like as far as the pop culture and the mass media, I feel like there is a little bit of a negative stigma against lowriders. What do you do for a living?
Right. I hear you. I work in the oil field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm an oil field worker. They call me oil field trash. You know, but I don't care. You know, that's what I do, man. That's what we do. There is a stigma against lowriders. We've all grown with it, but you know, I think people are starting to understand, man. There's no trouble with us, man. We love, it's our culture. We grew up on this shit. Our grandpas had these cars, and they loved them, man. World War II, they came home, took the pumps off them airplanes, put them on these cars. That's how they started our yards.
Actually, that's a good point for the people at home who don't know how lowriding started. How did lowriding actually start as like a culture and everything?
Man, it was the World War II guys that came home. They modified their cars, man. They tore them apart. Like I said, they took the pumps off the wings and they started lowriding. And, you know, it was just a bunch of guys getting together after the war. Didn't know what to do with themselves, I believe. And you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but these cars were their escape. You know, and look at 1938 Chevy, bro. You know, this turned into, somebody's turned into hot rods. Some guys love the beautiful and took it back to originality, and you know, a bunch of guys getting together, said charisma, helping each other out, getting down.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, like it started off with like people throwing like sandbags in the trunk to go ahead and lower the cars, and then the police started to go ahead and get on people, so they tried to find a way to go ahead and raise the cars up.
Yeah, it was. I think in California they had to throw a tennis ball under them to see if the tennis ball cleared the frame and stuff. But that's what they did. You know, they'd see a cop coming, they have it on the ground. See a cop coming, they'd be back up. And now it's just crazy, man. You see these Cutlasses and Monte Carlos and shit getting down. They're doing what, 10 feet now, straight up in the air. Amazing, man. They put a lot of pride and love into them cars.
And that's kind of crazy to think about. What do you think about? Because this car is from 1938. What would you think that the original person who like made the invoice to go ahead and purchase this car originally? What do you think they would think about it now?
Man, that's a good question, man. It's if this car could talk, you know where it's been. Originally, I think this car came from Idaho, but who knows who it carried inside in 38? You know, and we have a bunch of older bombs that, like, if they could talk, who knows? Might have been Elvis, might have been
the story
the
that they could tell.
Story they could tell, man. So we want to try to keep them original, back to their time where they were from. You know, it's just that place and time with these cars, man. It's crazy.
Just keeping everything period correct.
Yep.
And then, does that ever get frustrating at all, trying to keep it period correct? Like, I'm sure, like, finding things from way back then, it does get a little bit frustrating, but, you know, does the love prevail overall? Yeah.
These bombs are temperamental, man. And honestly, you know, I was putting a lot of love in this one. And my 38 and my 53 started acting up. And it's just crazy. They know.
They have souls almost. Like,
they do.
Yeah.
They really do, man. And my 53 started giving me grief. She just needs some love, jealous of each other, man. They really are. But you know, each car's got its own personality, man. Been around, you know.
And then it's also pretty common to go ahead and name the car. So do you have a name for both of them?
I do. So my 53 is named Jesse Bro, and it's after my wife's brother that committed suicide about 3 years ago. And he never got to see it, so I named him Jesse Bro. This one right here is called Jameson, after my two brothers that passed away years ago. And I thought their last name, Jameson, was fitting for the car due to the period of the car, 38. I get to go cruise Jameson today. So that's Jameson right there.
So it's almost like a type of homage to them, yeah.
Yeah, it's a tribute to both of them. Both, my brother-in-law, one of my best friends, brothers that I never got to really grow up with, but just a tribute to them. And and the reason is that one of my older brothers would take me cruising in his bomb that wasn't fixed up, but he was trying to get it there, and he'd take me cruising. I remember like the interior just being really tore up and stuff, but we just go cruising around the block and just tribute to him. Exactly.
So is he the one that got you into bombs specifically?
No, I don't think so. I always loved the lowrider scene. I love seeing them dropped. I love seeing them hot. The tires, culture. Honestly, it's a culture for us, and we love it, dude. If we could drive these cars every day, we would, but due to work and where we have to travel these days, we got to take motor vehicles. They're not dependable as they used to be.
Like we're one
you know?
day.
Yeah, like this car's 83, 84 years old now, but she'll cruise. She'll do good.
I mean, if you think about it, like an 84-year-old piece of technology, and the fact that it's still running and driving and still out here and able to show itself to the people is kind of impressive. It really stands testament as to the engineering back then.
American engineering, yeah. You know what? Back then it was simple. Man, we look at stuff here now, and it's just like the hinge or how they prop the motor or the hinges up on the hood latches or the brakes. You know, it's just simple compared to what goes on these days. You know, it was just easy back then.
Is that something that brings you enjoyment, like the easeability of actually being able to work on it, or?
No, I really like the fact how easy it was back, the engineering back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this car on the inside was made of wood. Some of the stuff that was wood, it was evolving. And they were learning their lessons. As you look at came back in the 1900s to the 20s, the 30s, they were getting better each year.
Mm-hmm.
I see shit on that 53 that this car had, but it's still on the 53. That was like 20 years later.
Yeah.
So they kept it simple and they didn't change much. What worked for them, and they just kept it going. You know what I mean?
And then are the bombs similar to like the Impalas, to where, because like if you look at like say like a 58 as opposed to like a 59 or a 60, like they do have very noticeable difference from the outside perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Is that similar to how the bombs work as well?
Yeah, there was always the race between Chrysler, Chevy, Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's trying to be out ahead, and they were always trying to evolve and doing headlights, doing durability, run. Just trying to make the car better. And a lot of companies failed because the cars that came out with were ugly as shit. But the Chevy and the Fords, the Chevy, man, you just can't beat them. They're simple. Their durability, brakes, engine. Man, any mechanic can come out here and change set spark plugs, wires, all that good shit. So, man, like I said, if these cars could talk, man, it'd be dope.
Yeah. And speaking about the ease of working, just like looking at them, because coming from myself who started off like modifying BMWs, like looking at the easeability of being able to change the spark plugs without like taking apart half the motor or something, it is really impressive. Like it's I kind of wish it was that easy nowadays, but now there's all these computers and everything and.
Mm-hmm. Yep, did a great job today. I'm always Acura, man. It happened for a little while, but I figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
But these ones here, shit, we had it all up in the air doing brakes. Simple engineering.
And then for anyone who say it doesn't have to necessarily be bombs, for say anyone who wants to get into the lowrider community, is there any like words of wisdom or anything that you would give to them?
Get ready to spend some money. Man, these 30s are tough. 50s are tough. 60s. 70s, anything that you're doing now more than 20 years old, man, parts are getting harder to find. As you look at these 30s, then you go up to the 40s and 50s, it's getting hard to find. If you want to play, you got to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And this was taking me a little bit, but we'll get there.
How long have you been working on this?
I bought this car in September of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't running. She's running now. She wouldn't stop. Brakes are working. She's all tuned up. Interior's coming along. So basically, right now, we're waiting on the interior. My homie's gonna set me up with a guy that's gonna buff it out. Gonna lay it down on the ground. And these cars, I got two of them. I got two grandbabies. They're gonna each have one. Each one. And 20 years from now, hopefully they're worth 50, 60,000. Maybe they could sell them, buy my house or something, or maybe keep them and say, hey, this is my grandpa's car, put some love into it.
Just keep the memory going.
Yep.
Honestly, with the way that the car prices are going right now, that's not unbelievable to say. And to even say that, say like 10, 20 years from now, these are going to be even harder to find, and especially the parts and all that.
Parts, yep. Yeah, it's going to evolve, man. And we've even seen, a couple of members, that I'm a member of a couple of other clubs or not clubs, but things on Facebook to where they're starting to make electric bombs.
Electric
You know?
bombs?
Yeah, electric bombs. They're putting electric motors in these bombs to where they can cruise these things. So, man, it's what you do, man. It's your right. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it. You know, like I said.
And how do you feel about the electric bombs? You know?
Man, it's everybody's choice, man. You know, honestly, bro, somebody can always come up to your car and pick the shit out of it, and they could get you for this, get you for that. Honestly, I don't give a fuck because that's my car. I do what I want to it. They want to put an electric motor behind it, man, more power to them. If they can do it and they can charge it for 20 hours and cruise all week and spend the money on gas, that's good. But I'm oil filled. Spend the money on that gas.
Actually, let's start with what made you want to join a club in the first place instead of like riding
Shit.
solo.
Never wanted to join a club, bro. Always wanted to ride solo, but you know what? Met a bunch of good guys that got together. That's family oriented, man. You know, of course, we like our pistol, bro. We like to get down and have fun, bro. But it's all everybody gets together and we have fun. We take care of each other. You know, bros. Carisma, familia, bro. Like we stand for, bro. You know, ours is Pachuco.
What does that stand for exactly?
So you know, Pachuco's back in the 40s, bro, where a bunch of gente that was culture, you know, and they were doing something they believed. And if you see them with all the zoot suits and everything, you know, like our thing is Pachuco, peace, unity, respect, and it's pure. That's what it stands for. You know, pure.
Purity, like by pure mean like the authenticity.
Yes. Pachuco. Peace, unity, and respect. Pure. So we try to have peace, unity, and respect for other clubs, other people. You know, we don't. I don't drink and drive. I'm in my house right now. I'm chilling out, hanging out, and you know, just do this little interview. But you know, there's just no room for it, man. There's no room for drama. We don't need it. We have our families there, our kids, our grandbabies. You know, we're trying to show them the culture that we love. We just don't like it. You know, just don't. There's no room for it. Just don't stand for it.
And then, speaking as someone from who doesn't have grandbabies and kids, do you see a lot of younger individuals trying to get into the scene?
I do see it on the people that are passing this culture on. You know, as we know now, the big thing is horsepower. You know, everybody does them turbos, everybody does them superchargers. Man, that's what they love right now. You know, but we're low and slow. You know, they can pass me up. Go ahead and go. You know, but I want my grandbabies to enjoy the ride. You know, when I get in my bombs, either one of them, I'm with my wife, with my grandbabies, man. That's my escape. That's where I get away from reality. You know, I'm in my car, dude. Yeah, sometimes they're breaking down, sometimes they're running like shit. But man, the smell of it, of the inside of the old school car, the cruise, the looks you get, the thumbs up you get, you know, and we're at car shows and shit, and you see these older gentlemen that come up, older guys, you know, and they're like, man, you know, I learned to drive my first time I drove, it was in this car. Or I drove my 53, we drove across state in it, man. And those are the best stories that I love to hear. You know, my grandpa had a 51 Chevy, and that's why I bought my first 51. He had it, and it was promised to me, and some things happened, and I never got it. But, you know, this is, it's indescribable when you're in these bombs, man. You're taking you're taking a trip back to the past, man, of what they had back then versus our air conditioning and our heaters and our cruise control, you know, and the ride we had, man. And you gotta have respect for these cars from back then.
So, speaking about like the horsepower and the supercharging and all that, do you prefer to keep it car rated as opposed to swapping to like an LS or something that's fuel injected?
Yeah, like I said earlier, man, it's your ride. You can do how you want to do it. For my opinion, man, I like to keep them old school. You know, like I said, we do 55, 60. You know, and people get pissed, you know, because we're not doing 80 on the highway, but, you know, it is what it is, honestly, you know, and I like to keep it old school. Yeah, I do a couple modifications, dude. I got some hydraulics and shit, dude, just for show, but try to keep it OG as much as you can.
And then, does it ever, is there any moment at all that, you feel like, shoot, like, what did I get myself into, like, when the cars, being temperamental.
Yeah, man, I bought this car, like I said, in September, man, and I had to sell one of my other cars. One of my homies has it now, dude. I look at it every day, and I'm thinking about trading it back to get my own one back, my 51 Chevy, you know. But I think when the final picture's done, this one here, I'll be glad I did it, because this is this is 1938, man. When she's laid out, got the visor on, and you know, I'll be like, damn, this is what I worked for, and I put a lot of time and money in this one so far. So I want to be satisfied with the shit that I've done to it. And when you're done with it, and you can watch her and just sit that bitch lay down. That's like, I did that shit, you know. And you could buy cars done up, but like I said earlier, you know, when she drove me 70 miles in a day and 70 miles back, that trophy was good, but laid her right back down and said, "Baby, you got me home." That's a reward.
That's the better feeling.
It is.
I feel like it's also like the pride and joy of saying, like, you know, I put my blood, sweat, and tears in this, and you know, like you said with this one, for example, like this wasn't even running or stopping when you got it.
Right.
So, like, I know this one is still in the works, but for example, like when the first time you go ahead and drive it, I'm sure that feeling is going to be way different than say if you bought it already
But
finished.
yeah. They say it's built, not bought. You know. Yeah, I mean, it's non-stop, bro, and especially on these older cars, man. You got to keep the maintenance on them. You know, radiator fluid, brakes, man. Tightening up bolts here and there, man. Shit, 50, 60, 70-year-old cars, man. You know, they're just not built like the newer ones now with all the shit they have on them, man. You gotta keep the maintenance up on these cars.
Oh, shoot. I think. Is there anything else you want to add? Because I think we covered
We covered a lot tonight, man.
Yeah.
No, honestly, no, you did a good job tonight. Covered up
Appreciate
everything,
it.
man. You know, it's the rider culture, man. We were embedded with it. We want to keep it going on with our kids, our grandkids. You know, hopefully their kids will keep moving on. And man, it's Canisma, man. Hanging out with your bros, 10 of these bombs inside in the driveway is a good feeling, man. To keep these cars going, man. And we can save as many cars as we can from the junkyard and scrap. We all need to do our best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the memories almost come from, you know, the moments like this where it's like sitting in the garage, not even driving them, just getting them ready to drive. Like, I feel like that, like when you look back at it, do you feel like that's going to be the moments that you remember more than like actually being out on the road?
No, man, that's a good point there, man. You know, a lot of friends come over to help out, you know, to get this shit running, man, and they want to see me get my shit running, but it's cool to have bros come and back you up and help you with this, help you with that. And that's what we do in our club. We're always at each other's back, helping them out, you know, and to see it come from where it was to it is now is an accomplishment. You know, it's time and money, but you know, it's a little slower process than I'd like to be, but
At the end, it's worth it.
at the end, man, it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Well, I appreciate everyone for watching this. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe. Do you have any social media or anything that I can go ahead and tag so maybe we can follow your build?
No, not really, man. Just Pachuco Car Club, you know. There's different areas. They all got their own websites and handles, channels, whatever they got. But Pachuco Car Club.
Okay, yeah. Well, I appreciate everyone. Like, comment, subscribe down below if you enjoyed it. We got some more interviews coming on later this week. And yeah, I appreciate your time.
Right on, man. Thank you, Carlos.
Yep,
Appreciate it, man.
thank you.